growing up quiet is often misunderstood. Maybe people described you as shy, reserved, or too quiet. Maybe teachers asked why you didn't speak more in class. Maybe family members worried you were keeping too much to yourself. Over time, you might have started to wonder if something about you needed fixing. But psychology tells a very different story. Research consistently shows that quiet children often develop powerful inner traits that louder environments sometimes overlook. Traits like deep observation, emotional awareness, independence, and thoughtful decision-making. In other words, being the quiet kid wasn't a weakness. It was shaping your mind in ways that many people only develop much later in life. If you grew up quiet, you may recognize these 5 hidden traits that often develop as a result. The first is deep observation. When you grow up quiet, you spend more time watching than speaking. Instead of jumping into every conversation, you naturally step back and observe what's happening around you. Psychology research shows that people who speak less in social environments often process more social information internally. They notice facial expressions, body language, tone shifts, and subtle emotional signals that others miss. Think about it. While others were busy talking, you were watching how people reacted to each other. You noticed when someone was uncomfortable. You noticed when a conversation changed tone. You noticed things that weren't being said out loud. Over time, this builds a powerful ability, social awareness. As an adult, this often shows up as strong intuition about people. You can sense when something feels off. You can read the emotional atmosphere of a room. And many people quietly rely on this ability without even realizing it. The second trait is a rich inner world. When you're quiet growing up, you naturally spend more time inside your own thoughts. Instead of constantly seeking stimulation from others, your mind becomes a place where ideas, reflections, and imagination develop. Psychologists often refer to this as internal processing. Research indicates that people who spend more time reflecting internally tend to develop stronger creativity, deeper thinking, and greater self-understanding. For example, while other kids may have needed constant noise or activity, you might have been perfectly comfortable sitting alone, thinking, drawing, writing, or imagining different possibilities. That inner world becomes a space where ideas grow. Many writers, thinkers, and creators share this exact trait. They learned early on how to explore their thoughts rather than constantly escaping them. So the quiet time you once thought was loneliness may have actually been training your mind to think deeply. The third trait is emotional sensitivity. Growing up quiet often means you became more aware of emotional shifts in your environment. Psychology research suggests that quieter individuals tend to have higher emotional processing sensitivity. This means they pick up on subtle emotional signals more quickly than others. Maybe you were the child who noticed when your parents were stressed even if they didn't say it. Maybe you could sense tension between friends before anyone else noticed. Or maybe you simply felt things deeply, both good emotions and difficult ones. At times this sensitivity can feel overwhelming. But it also comes with a powerful advantage, empathy. Because you notice emotions so clearly, you often understand people on a deeper level. Friends may come to you for advice. People may feel safe opening up to you. Your quietness allowed you to become someone who truly listens, and that's a rare quality. The fourth trait is independence. When you grow up quiet, you often learn early on how to be comfortable on your own. While some people rely heavily on constant social interaction for validation, quiet individuals often develop a different relationship with themselves. Research in personality psychology shows that people who are comfortable with solitude tend to develop stronger internal stability and self-direction. You learn how to think for yourself. You learn how to entertain your own mind. You learn how to make decisions without constantly needing approval. This doesn't mean you dislike people. It simply means your sense of identity isn't completely shaped by the crowd around you. And that kind of independence becomes incredibly valuable in adulthood. It allows you to pursue interests that genuinely matter to you, rather than simply following what everyone else is doing. The fifth trait is thoughtful communication. Ironically, people who grew up quiet often become some of the most thoughtful communicators later in life. Because you didn't speak constantly, you learned something important: words have weight. Psychology studies suggest that people who pause before speaking often produce more considered responses. They think about what they want to say before they say it. You may notice this in yourself. When you do speak, people tend to listen. Your comments often carry more thought behind them. You're less likely to interrupt, argue impulsively, or react emotionally in the moment. Instead, you respond with reflection. And in a world where everyone is rushing to speak, this kind of thoughtful communication stands out more than you might realize. So if you grew up quiet, it's possible that what others once saw as a weakness was actually shaping these powerful inner strengths. Observation. A rich inner world. Emotional awareness. Independence. And thoughtful communication. These traits often develop slowly and quietly, just like the people who carry them. So if you were the quiet kid, there's nothing wrong with you. In many ways, your mind simply developed differently. And those differences may be exactly what allow you to understand people more deeply, think more clearly, and move through the world with greater awareness. Sometimes the quietest voices carry the deepest insight. If you found yourself relating to these traits, you're not alone. Many people who grew up quiet discover later in life that their personality holds strengths they never realized before. And if you enjoy exploring the hidden psychology behind personality, behavior, and human nature, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Because sometimes, understanding yourself is the most powerful insight of all. Okay, my name is Helen, see you next time.